Hello and welcome everybody. So I have in front of me the new Spellbinders Colorwheel cardstock. And initially I filmed this in real time and was doing the voiceover, but the video got to be too long. So I'm actually going to speed up this first part and a lot of the actual swatching, and then I will have some commentary at the end that I did record in real time. So, if you're not familiar and you haven't watched the Spellbinders sort of sneak peeks of these new cardstock colors, there's 48 new colors. And I say new, but some of them are actually from previous colors. And I will tell you at the end, I do a comparison of what I have in my stash and which colors still exist and which ones are no longer available. If you go to the Spellbinders website, here's what the listings look like. There's a stamp set and 2 die sets that you can get to create the swatch rings that I will show you in a moment. And when it comes to the actual cardstock itself, there's a lot of different options for bundles that you can get. So firstly, all of the cardstocks can be purchased in 12 by 12 or 8.5 and 11, which is different from the past, where the solid color cardstock was only available in 8.5 by 11. It's the same paper weight. It's a 100-pound cover weight, and you can get them in these different bundles. You can get a set of all 48. You can just get the cool tones, just the warm tones, or just get like a nice rainbow assortment. And of course, as with in the past, you can also get packs of 10 in a single color. And I think it's the same price as what was priced before. So I don't know if this is a different paper manufacturer, but I'll show you at the end. Some of the colors exist and seem to be under like maybe a slightly different name, and then some are not part of this new color story. And I say color story because you can kind of see the way things are ordered. There's some definitive sort of color ranges where you take one hue and you have sort of the dark, the mid, and the light. So that's a look at how the listings will look on the website. You have this stamp set that has all of the names. You have this die set that is this large petal die. And then you have a second die set that's kind of more like a half pie. So this is just like a wedge, and then the other is like more of a half circle. Now this is going to take some time to assemble because each of these petals, there's 3 pieces. And what's nice is that the base you can cut out of white, and that way you can stamp the name of the color on that outer border. And it also conserves your cardstock a little bit because the only part that you actually need to cut that is part of the swatch is the middle portion. And so I was actually able to fit onto this little sample pack that they sent me as an influencer, the middle portion and the hole reinforcer. And as well, I was able to actually cut out one of the wedges from this set. So I'm actually going to show you 2 ways that you can swatch your cardstock. And if you're not a fan of the Spellbinders cardstock, these die sets, you can use for any brand cardstock or all brands of cardstocks. Now, what's nice is that this, it's not a half circle. It's actually more than half a circle. It's 6 wedges. And part of me wonders, why is it 6 wedges? I have a couple theories. One, with the color cube cards, some of the color palettes actually have 6 colors. So that would get you this little half, a little bit more than half circle base. If you wanted to swatch out your favorite color cube cards, it would fit for all of them. And these individual wedges are what you would use to cut your colors out of. And what I really appreciate is the fact that they give you a single die that has all 6 wedges, but they also give you a single die that just cuts out 1 wedge, because if you were to swatch out, say, color palettes, Why do you need 6 of the exact same? Because usually on a single color palette, you're just going to have one of each color, right? But let's say you're like me and you love the color teal. I might use the die that cuts 6 to get 6 teal wedges, because I probably have multiple color palettes that feature teal. Because that's just me. That's what I like. And so it's nice to have the option of both cutting a bunch out, but also cutting one out at a time. And this die set also has a separate die as a hole reinforcer. So you have that as well. And so I really like that. And the other thing, and I'll talk a little bit more about this at the end too, the other reason why I like having the single die that cuts out all 6 wedges is you can just cut that out of white, and then you can swatch out your other things. Imagine swatching out your ink colors, your alcohol marker blends, your color pencils, anything that any media supply that you would like to have a swatch reference for, you might be able to use these dies to cut out. So really excited about that. And I've been doing a sort of product review of the Creative Craft mini die cutting machine, and this plate will fit on it. The plate, basically, that large die is, I think, 3 inches, just shy of 3 inches, because the plate is 3 inches. So most mini die cutting machines will be able to cut all of these dies. I think the exception is the Sizzix Sidekick. I don't have one, but I think that platform's only 2.5 inches. So your Sidekick might not be able to, but I think just about every other, and the Scout for sure, I think, because I think it's larger than 3, it might be 3.5. I'm pretty sure the Crafter's Companion Mini Gemini would accept these dies, so you don't really need a large die cutting machine. Now, I will say, at the time that I'm doing this, I'm actually die cutting 2 things and 2 machines at a time. So I'm running the base that's been cut out of white through my mini Empress. So that's why you occasionally see my mini Empress come into shot here. And then manually I cut my swatch petals. And I have to admit that after filming this first sort of portion where I cut out, I think I must have gone maybe 10 in, I started to use my large Gemini and cut out as much as I could on the A4 platform. And it's electronic, so it kind of saved my hand, shoulder, wrist, arm, etc., the fatigue of manually die cutting. So I will say that this is quite a project, right? If you're gonna swatch out all 48, I would definitely say maybe do this somewhere comfortable. Take it slowly. Don't try to take some breaks, especially if you have a manual die cutting machine. Just don't let this build up into a repetitive stress injury, and then you're going to feel it the next day possibly. So just take it easy. Don't be in a rush to do it. Maybe if you're tackling your solid color cardstocks from multiple different brands, maybe just try to do it over weeks or months as you are using a particular cardstock. Maybe that's when you cut your swatch out. So you can do it just as a course of normal business as well. For the purposes of this video, I sat down and really tried to plow through it. And that's why I eventually moved over to my large Gemini machine, which made it a lot faster and a lot less fatigue on me. And so as you can see, I've got the hole reinforcer, and I was able to actually, if you position this, you're not going to really be in this position because I got this very specific size of sample. But it was pretty amazing just from the small little sample, panels that they gave us. I was able to get quite a lot of pieces. So I got all of my swatch petals. I got my hole reinforcers, and then later you'll see I also got the petal, a single petal for the larger swatch panel. So kind of nice. And even though you don't really have to, but what was I going to do with that little bit of extra cardstock? I just made the whole reinforcer the same color. So now the whole ring is one color with the exception of the little border at the end, which is where I'll be stamping the name of the color. So I kind of like the look of it being, all the same color, like that whole reinforcer being the same color as well. And I know that if you look at the packaging for this die set, it shows this portion, the little whole reinforcer portion, cut out of a different color. And you could totally do that. It would save you a little bit of color cardstock, to be honest. But since I was working with a very small panel and it was going to be scrap anyways, I was really happy I was able to actually fit it. So here we've skipped ahead a little chunk of time, and I'm at the last 3 in the set of 48. And assembling goes by pretty quickly once you have everything cut out. So it's really the die cutting, I feel, that took a lot of time. This wasn't too bad. Gluing it all together wasn't too bad. And then the next step is to stamp the names. Now, it's really deceptive. I don't know. It's just the nature of technology, the nature of computer screens, and what you see in real life. But it may not always be completely obvious what color is what. But if you do get the full 48 pack, keep them in order, because the right now anyways, the listings are in the same order. So I was able to actually identify the colors based on the order that they are shown on the website and the order that the panels of cardstock came in. So the pack was in a very specific order, and the website actually has listings in that exact order too. So it was really actually worked out kind of nicely, especially since I didn't really know off the top of my head. And when you try to compare the actual cardstock to what you see on screen, some of it can look very different. So as I was stamping the names onto each petal, I also stamped out my my kind of color wheel here, half color wheel, and I stamped out each kind of color story. So these are the grays, and I went back and added the white because classic white is also part of that previous set. So for example, this is the set of the browns and the tans. So as I was stamping out the individual petals, while I had the stamp on my acrylic black, I just went ahead and stamped out the wheel too. So if you do end up getting both and you like the idea of having your swatches represented in both ways, I would definitely recommend kind of doing this step at the same time. It kind of helps you a little bit with the just doing it a little bit more efficiently since everything's out at the same time. Oh my gosh, that took so long. I am done though, and you only have to do it the one time, so it's worth a little bit of time. And I just put on a true crime podcast while I was listening. I was just die cutting away, stamping away, and I tried to keep everything in order, so I have everything in rainbow order. And what I did was separate out my petals into the cool tone assortment. So if you were to buy the cool tones, because it's sold that way, that's one of the options anyways, to buy the bundle in cool tones, and that's what would come in that one. And then the warm tones, this is what would come in that. And then there's the neutrals, so everything that's left over. And I don't think that there's a bundle that I saw that has the neutrals sold together. But those are all 48 colors and swatched out using the petals. Now, the reason why the petals are kind of nice is that because you have like a really nice, generous swatch of it. That's for one. It gives you a really good sense of the colors, but also because the color goes right to the edge of each card, you can really just kind of put this in the middle of whatever you're trying to color match and then see, oh, does that look good? Or is this the right color? Or is this what I want? And so not only can you color match, but it's a large enough piece so you can actually have a little bit of an idea of, let's say I have a border with fern. How would that look? So it's a long enough stretch that it might give you, you know, a really nice little preview of how it might look if you had like a matte layer of peridot behind this pattern paper. So I like, these are large, but I like that, especially the previewing, like, because I tend to use the solid color cardstocks for my mats and layers. I like it for that reason. But this is big. I mean, all told, if I were to stack this, this is a good 1.5 inches thick. And then it's, if you don't count the rings, it's about 4.75 or so by another 2 inches that way. So pretty big, but I think going to be very handy. However, I did also, because I was able to, trying to make the most out of that little sample pack that they gave me, and I was able to get for each of the colors one little wedge here, one petal of this more of a sort of a color palette swatch. And so I have these, and one of the things that I think is really nice about this new color system of solid color cardstock by Spellbinders is that it tells a better color story, because now you have very intentionally a light, a mid, a dark. And you'll see that in some of these, there's, that one had 3, this has 5, this has 4. So it sort of ranges from 3 to 5. And not gonna lie, I do love that there's so much teal. That's really nice. And blues in general, I love that there are so many blues. Blue's my favorite color, teal specifically. And I really also love that there's like a bluey purple and a pinky purple. So you get both variations. And then of course our tans and browns, and then our grays and black and white. So why did I swatch it this way? Well, for one, I feel like it's a little bit easier to identify because this is a smaller stock. I can kind of get a sense for each colorway, and you know, if I'm not trying to color match to something, I just want to use, you know, pick some pretty colors. This might be one way or a faster way to do it than looking through these larger petal cards. But the other reason why I did it this way is because here's my plan. It's going to take some time. I'm not going to be in a super rush to do this. So maybe look for a follow-up video to this one where I show you the completed effort. But my plan is this. I'm going to use these extra spaces to swatch out some of my other media supplies. So for example, there's this nice color range of reds. If I can find ADHESIVES markers, for example, that would give me, you know, some nice equivalents. So here's my hex chart for ADHESIVES. So I can already see there's one that's a pretty good match right there. So this line right here actually might make for a really nice complement if I wanted to use, say, solid color cardstock to add a matte or layer behind something, and then color an image and have some colors that actually, you know, closely match these solid color cardstocks. I'm gonna maybe swatch out that blend in my ADHESIVES markers. And I've been become a big fan of Altenew markers lately as well. And so here's what I have so far in my Altenew marker collection. And so maybe I can go to some of these and see, okay, here we go. Here's some teals. So maybe I'll swatch out these teals in one of these wedges. So I'm gonna die cut these wedges out of white, swatch some different colors, and then expand these sort of half circles with swatches of my media supplies. And I'm going to do the same thing with my various lines of inks. So if you watch my channel, you know that I'm a big fan of Sukaneko inks, and so I have a lot of their inks. And so my plan is, what I'm going to do is just take two of these, glue them together. So where they overlap is the circle in the center, they overlap. And then I can glue, that wedge and this wedge, glue these together to form a full circle. And then maybe, continue the swatch with all of the various different media supplies. And I'm not going to swatch directly on the base. What I'm going to do is die cut these pie wedge shapes out of white and then swatch, because you know how if you color, it's nice to color onto whatever, if you're going to swatch, it's nice to swatch your colors onto whatever paper you will most likely use on your final project, because sometimes a color can look different on different papers, and different papers can react differently to different media supplies. And so I'm probably going to cut out a bunch of the white wedges out of hammer mill, because that's what I tend to color onto. And for my color pencil swatching, because I'll probably do the same with my color pencils, I will swatch onto accent opaque because it's not as smooth. So because it has a little bit more of a tooth to it, color pencil tends to do better with it. So I might, swatch it and then make full rings like this and then put a brad here. Or I might just, I don't know how else I might actually attach these, because it's quite possible that with the reds, or especially with ones that only have one extra space, I mean, that's what the space that I need if I were to glue two halves together. But I might actually, I for sure will have like different sprays, different inks. You could do everything, right? You could do your sprays, you could do your inks, you could do your color pencils, your markers, all of the things. And it's going to exceed, the blank spaces. So the question is going to be, how do I keep them together? If I glue them, like I was saying, like this, I think that would be more than enough for the various different types of media supplies that I have. But how do I keep them all together? And then is it going to be practical to use? So for now, I don't have to make that decision. I'll just kind of, I've got some blank panels, bases ready to go. And that's going to be a phase 2. That'll be a project that's in progress, probably always. as I color with a particular color combination, I'll swatch it, right, and then add it. Because right now I can put one of these binder rings, and it works nicely on a binder ring as well. So I might just, as I swatch out the rest, maybe I'll just leave it on a binder ring. So we'll see. That's to be determined, but that's my plan. And that way, once I color matched it, I'll find it here, and then I can find all of the other media supplies that I have that would match that. And so I think both of these have value to them, and it just kind of depends on how you want to use these as a tool in your craft room. Now, the other thing that I mentioned I would touch on at the beginning was which of the current color cardstocks have stayed. And so I just want to kind of go through. So Cosmic Sky, pretty good. That's a good match. Terracotta, that is still a little bit different, but still an option. Saffron is here. Not quite the same saffron, but it's the name is there. The color is a little bit different. Poppy, what used to be Poppy Field is just Poppy, pretty much the same. I'm just pulling these out randomly. Teal Topaz, pretty much the same. These are pretty much the same too. Peridot, Rainforest, maybe a little slight difference there, but not a ton. And then Fern. So those are good. Mint, those are new. Okay, so Waterfall. A little bit of a difference. I think this is more blue. That's got a little bit more green in it. Okay, this is Lagoon. So what they're calling Blue Spruce now used to be Lagoon, unless I mislabeled these. So that's Teal Topaz. Okay. And what they're calling Blue Spruce, I have labeled as Lagoon. I could be wrong. What I have in the previous line that was Blue Spruce, it's actually one shade darker. So I don't know. Was I wrong when I labeled my swatches, or have they kind of changed these colors? So not sure. Then we have, there's a purple here. So Lilac Blossom is now just lilac, but the color is pretty close to the same. Then let's see, we've got Fog here, which is pretty much the same. Here's some yellows. So we have Beeswax, which is in the new one. We've got Tuscan, also pretty much the same. Okay, so then we have some more reds here. So what's this? Pomegranate. Pomegranate. This is Wild Berry. Oh, here's Dahlia. And then Wild Berry. Okay, so those are the ones, at least I don't think I have the full set of the old colors, but that's what I was able to find from the old colors that still, it looks like that there's an equivalent, or at least by name an equivalent. The Blue Spruce one, I'm not sure. That might be just me. I don't know. Oh wait, hold on. There's might be this Partly Cloudy. Is this in here too? So here are some that look like they're close, but it's sort of changed. So this is Partly Cloudy, but Celestial is the closest match in the new. This is Raindrop, and it's a little bit different, but I think Cascade would be the closest in the new color. So those don't exist anymore. This is such a pretty color. I'm really sad that Chamomile is not in this anymore. And then there were some, this was not, I don't think this was part of their main line. I think it was like a special little variety pack, but Fruit Punch isn't there. This very bright yellow Sunkiss isn't there. Island Blue is not there. There isn't really anything that's kind of close to that. We have Lavender. So Purple Mist is kind of the closest. The old Purple Mist is kind of closest to Lavender. Oops. Dune. Oh, let's save those for later. Let's see. Sage. This is such a pretty color. I love the muted tones of that, and that's not in here anymore. Sad. Then we have, oh, there were so many reds. So Phone Booth, I think, maybe this is, yeah, there used to be a lot of reds, and Phone Booth is pretty close to everything else. So that's not in there anymore. Oh, this Royal Amethyst I really like too. And I don't think Royal Amethyst, it's a very bluey purple. But as the darkest you get on the blue purple, lilac is the darkest that you get. So this would be like one notch darker. So Royal Amethyst I kind of miss having. And apologies, I'm just bouncing back and forth here because I'm pulling these randomly. So Pink Sand. Pink Sand I think is kind of still here. It's sort of in between your tutu and blush. So that's Pink Sand. So you can see a lot of colors have kind of been weeded out. These are the ones that are in. These are the old ones that I can't find equivalents for. Carrot, Persimmon. I really like Persimmon, but Carrot's pretty close to it. So that's not in anymore. Peach Sorbet I also really loved. I think this was also part of a special. So Peach Sorbet I think is kind of... Peach Sorbet I really liked because you can almost use it as a skin tone. And I feel like there isn't a skin tone, like a medium skin tone, in the new line. So sad that that's missing. And I think Peach Sorbet came with Sage and the Tuscan. They were released together along with this one here. Velvet Rose, which I think is a beautiful like dusty rose, and there's no... See these muted colors, they don't really have muted colors. Maybe the closest is Sicily, but it's just not the same. So if I ever see that pack come back, I'm gonna get it, but I doubt it. I don't know. So then there were some... oh, this I never labeled, but this was one of the grays in a darker. This is another gray that I guess I didn't label. But these grays are more warm grays, where Anchor and Fog are more your cool gray tones. So kind of interesting. Those aren't in anymore. Then with the browns. So I don't know why I never labeled some of these. So whatever color that used to be, sorry, not so helpful. Timber, darker than Truffle. So not quite. Dune, which I love Dune. Dune is another potential skin tone color. Not gonna be it's not really an equivalent there. And then Portobello is a very gray brown. That's not in there either. So quite a lot that is I would say, like, if I look at these two piles, it's like maybe half and half. Oh, there's this Glacier. Found this off to the side. Glacier. Glacier would be maybe something... Oh, Glacier I think is now called Windy. Those look like pretty close match to me. So I would put this in the pile of it still like exists, it's just maybe a different name now. But yeah, this is, still available, not so much. And you can kind of see a lot of the muted and then some of the darker range are missing. And then these super bright colors, I don't really mind that they're gone. But the muted tones, I really like those. I'm gonna start to be precious about them, I think. But that's a look at what I could find and what I have anyhow that I could see from my old stash and then the new colors. So I can't wait because I don't have full sheets of these, but now I kind of know what colors to focus on because I can focus on picking up the new colors that have been released that I don't already have. So I'll look at probably getting individual packs. So we'll see. I haven't decided yet for myself if I want to get the bundle or if I just want to get the packs of 10 and just pick up individual colors. So I like that they give you the option and you have some different choices for how you want to craft and which colors you want to keep in your stash. That's it for me today. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'll leave links to everything in the description box below. Stay tuned for part 2 when I expand on this and start to swatch out some of my other media supplies. Until next time, happy crafting and have a fabulous day. Bye.